Hey there everyone, not just your average Joe here, and I'm making a video on my thought process that I went through when I was determining whether or not I would 5-star a unit. So, you know, like one of the examples I'm putting here is Anna. So, one of the first things I did was before I found like a few resources that I'll mention later. So, probably the first and second step. First step is I just eyeballed her stats. I looked at her stats. I tried to determine what her good stats are and what her bad stats are. So when I looked at my Ana at the time, she had good HP, decent attack, pretty good speed, low defense, and resistance is decent. So, I thought to myself, she'd be a pretty decent unit. And the next thing I did after checking, trying to eyeball her stats was I pressed her, press her character, press skill list. Then I looked at the skills that were available to her if she became a 5-star. So this is kind of like step two. Step one was trying to eyeball her stats, and step two is looking at her skills as a 5-star. This is not specifically Ana. You can do this with basically any unit. Like say you want to go to I go to Hannah. I check the skills that she can have, Armor Slayer Plus, Life and Death, and I can go to her base stats as well, seeing what they had to offer. Anyways, moving right along. So once you complete step one, step two, step three before step three, I'm going to show you the resource that you can use for helping you out in terms of like whether or not you'd 5-star a unit based on stats. So example I have here is Effie, right? So say you have a silver Effie and you're wondering whether or not you should 5-star her, right? So you would check here, and you look at her, just look at her HP just by themselves and all the other stats, and you see that she has great HP. Well, according to the IV, it's medium, but for her anyways. So she has pretty good HP, very good attack, middling speed, pretty nice defense, and a decent resistance stat. So, if you saw this, you'd be like, okay, Effie is pretty good if I was going to make her a 5-star, right? So, and then let's say maybe you are looking for someone else. So let's go to Ozama. You look at his stats, and, as a healer, he's already inefficient as, towards endgame. And, he's very underwhelming. Like, there really isn't a stat that really stands out to you. And I wouldn't he wouldn't be my first choice to 5-star basically. So you look at those stats and you're just like you kind of like questioning everything. And then let's go to another example. Just for example's sake, I'll pick no, sorry, not Hawkeye. I'll pick Hannah. So look at Hannah. Look at her stats. She has pretty good attack, fairly decent speed, and defense and resistance leave something to be desired, and same with her HP. So, you can use this resource to check if you have like 4 or 5 units. You look at the level 40 stats, and you try to compare which ones would be the best course of action for you. So, kind of like my step 4 now that I did was when once I picked the units I wanted to 5-star, and I had 4 choices. I picked Sharena, just so that's obvious. And the thought process I went through at the time was I looked through my weapons units, and I was looking through what I was lacking. I was looking through what I was lacking and where I was weak at, and whether or not I could, improve it in any way. So, like, my thought process at the time was like, I did have a Noe, right? And this is her after skill inheritance, but I kind of found her. Sometimes she was a little underwhelming. Other times very overwhelming. So, I wanted to have a lance unit just for specifically sword units and stuff, because Noe is weak to 3 of them, Krom, Marth, and Lucina. She'd always win out in the end, but they would do heavy damage to her usually, so that was a little bit frustrating. So what I did was I looked through my lance units, and I didn't have Effie at the time. Like you'll see her here. I was kind of wondering, is there a lance unit I have that has the potential to be, an excellent unit down the road? So I looked at Sharena out of everyone, and I decided, hey, you know what? She has pretty good support, and she has a fairly good weapon. Why don't I 5-star her? And she's also a lance unit, so she helps alleviate those, really annoying sword units. She has these, and then you look at her stats. She's level 40 attack, 35 speed, 43 HP, 29 defense, 22 resistance. Not too shabby. Like she can really fend for herself. So I have no regrets. And she's been really useful in arena runs and stuff, and she's been really easy to train. So I have no regrets at all. So because that's kind of like the first step. Like you kind of look at what you need right now at the moment. You like the thing is with Effie was like I didn't want to leave out the chance, nor did I have the patience for that. So I could have waited, but then there's always that chance that I would have never gotten Effie. But I have a 100% chance to improve my Sharena, and I have a 100% chance to have this good lance unit for the time being. So that's kind of like my fourth step that I went to. I kind of like the fifth step, and it could potentially be the most important step, depending on the kind of person you are. It's really preference, like personal bias. Like in the end of the day, this is up to your discretion. This is your choice. So don't let anyone kind of like, I mean, even I would do a little. I would question a little on certain units, but don't let that affect your decision too much. You do you. So one of the reasons why I did pick Sharena over the other units that I was planning to 4-star, the other one being Irika, and a couple of others, is because I also rather like her as a unit. She's one of my favorite characters. Not of all time, but I did really like her because she really grew on me as soon as the game started. So I really liked her. I mean, she's a favorite character. I wouldn't say she's waifu or whatever people say she is nowadays, but I do love her character. Like she's really cute, and I have 5 younger sisters. Oh no, sorry, correction. I have 5 sisters. 3 of them that are younger. So I looked at her as a little sister. So she appealed to me. So that's kind of like the 5-step process I went through when I was trying to determine whether or not I would 5-star someone. So you check their stats currently, and then you check their level 40 stats as a 5-star. Then you would check kind of the skills that they would have as a 5-star, whether or not they're beneficial. Then I would go and check the needs of based on the kinds of units you have and the team makeup you have, like the needs that you require, and then kind of like look to your personal bias. Like in the end of the day, this is your decision, and you should be satisfied, and you should do whatever you want to do, as long as you're willing to, as long as you're able to take responsibility for those actions. Not complaining when you regret, or not regretting, quote unquote. So yeah, that's everything. I'll bring this video to close, and later days.